Hello and welcome to Chessboard by Business Standard. My name is Ankur Bhardwaj. Today is 22nd of March, Friday, and we are right in the middle of the election season. I'm joined by my colleague and Business Standard's political editor, Archis Mohan. Archis and I have done this conversation in the past before the 2019 elections as well. We will join you every week with the latest from the world of elections, from the world of politics as it is unfolding in India. This week has been an action packed week, and Archis, everybody is talking about this one thing only: Arvind Kejriwal's arrest.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Look, tracking Arvind Kejriwal's career, and all of us as journalists have done that in the last decade or so. Undoubtedly, it's been the most successful political startup since the emergence of the Bahujan Samaj Party in the early 80s. And now, within a short time, a party like Aam Aadmi Party governs two states in the country, very influential states at that. And I would also go so far as to say that ever since the Delhi government has been governed by Arvind Kejriwal, he has managed to change some of the policies of governments across the country. The kind of welfareist policies, especially that we see in the northern India, are thanks to the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. So I would imagine that Kejriwal or the Aam Aadmi Party enjoys some credibility among this country's low middle classes and poor for the kind of welfareist policies that they have pursued.
In the short span that he has been a politician, he has come full circle. He was the anti-corruption crusader, the original anti-corruption crusader, along with Anna Hazare, Kiran Bedi, and the like. And now he is behind bars on charges of corruption. Does it mean anything for new politics or this new crop of politicians?
So it seems there is some problem with the, as investigations have shown, with the anti-excise policy, how it unfolded, and there are at least 32 people already in jail, including Manish Sisodia, including Sanjay Singh. They were the pillars of the Aam Aadmi Party.
And they have been in jail for a fairly long time now.
Yeah. That's why I was talking about the credibility that the Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal enjoy in the eyes of the people, in the eyes of the poor. Would not want to speculate or hazard a guess how this will play out in public among public opinion. Why I'm trying to say that is because I've spoken with people, some of whom have questioned the timing of his arrest, it being so close to the general elections. And some even point out, look, there is no substantial recovery of the proceeds uh, of the excise policy. So there is somewhat of skepticism among a section of people. However, you'll find also a whole lot of people who would say, look, where has Kejriwal, in a sense, come to from being an anti-corruption crusader to now being in jail for corruption charges. And some of Mr. Kejriwal's former mentors, like Justice Santosh Hegde or Anna Hazare, have also been questioning and how they are so disappointed with Mr. Kejriwal's conduct. So I think the jury is out. I wouldn't like to hazard a guess which way.
Even if we were to park aside, park on to the side questions about his credibility as an anti-corruption crusader, there are real practical political questions to consider. The BJP for long has depended on the RSS cadre to contest elections. It is the backbone of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Congress Party has been an old political party with its network, with its organization. Does the Aam Aadmi Party have the same kind of strength, organizational strength, to be able to stand strongly in an electoral field with its top man out?
So what you're saying is quite correct. Aam Aadmi Party tried to shape a new kind of political following. People who were not directly associated with politics earlier came into politics and associated with Aam Aadmi Party. So whether such followers base would have the same kind of commitment to fight the kind of battle that lies ahead.
Right.
Again, that is open to question.
So the question of whether he will remain in jail for some time, whether he'll get a bail today or not, we will come to know soon.
But there are no provisions in the jail manual to hold cabinet committees, cabinet meetings.
So that's one aspect of it. So, for example, can he continue as the chief minister of
As long
the,
as he's
of
not
the state?
convicted, he can continue. but there are practical difficulties, and I would imagine that the lieutenant governor's role would be also become important in a scenario like Delhi, which is not a full state, and the lieutenant governor enjoys quite a substantial amount of power in Delhi. But technically, there is nothing to bar Mr. Kejriwal from continuing to be the chief minister as long as he is not convicted.
So there is one question about whether what does this mean for the Aam Aadmi Party government on its own, and the other question is what does it mean for the Aam Aadmi Party, the organization?
So, as we have seen, while Aam Aadmi Party came through a movement, was a product of a movement, and there was initially at least a democratic internal democracy to how the Aam Aadmi Party functioned. Uh, and Arvind Kejriwal was this first among equals, and there were other leaders as well who were gradually purged from the party. It became the leadership and the powers remained concentrated with Mr. Kejriwal and some of his closest associates. So, Mr. Kejriwal failed to ensure that Aam Aadmi Party evolved into a party that reflected inner party democracy. So when a whole lot of that power is vested in Mr. Kejriwal and when he takes most of the decisions within that party, I would imagine it would struggle uh, in its decision making, particularly when the succession planning is not quite evident. One does not know whether Miss Atishi is number two, or is it Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj who is number two, when the de facto number two, Mr. Sisodia, is already in jail, and another veteran political leader, Sanjay Singh, is also in jail.
Right. Well, some people also argue that Kejriwal has finally become victim of his own kind of politics. When he started, he wanted every corrupt person to be put in jail, strict actions against them without, while people, protested and asserted their innocence. They assumed that everybody in the political class was guilty. Has his old politics come to bite him?
Well, it would seem a bit of a poetic justice. But look, as he pursued his politics, I think there was enormous appeal for that, particularly among the middle class. And while he may have started as this anti-corruption crusader, when Mr. Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party took up governance of Delhi and subsequently Punjab, they tried to shape themselves into a non-ideological problem-solving party.
Right.
And to my mind, they succeeded somewhat until these corruption scandals, the skeletons in their cupboards, started coming out. And that is when at least a section of their supporters started doubting, their intent. So I would agree with you that, where they started from as being anti-corruption crusaders, it's come a full circle.
There were many other prominent individuals in that original grouping, members of the civil society as they were known back then. There was Yogendra Yadav, there was Prashant Bhushan, even Kiran Bedi at a point in time. Also Anna Hazare, the original, the Gandhi reincarnate as they projected him. But like you mentioned that they were all purged out of the Aam Aadmi Party, especially Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan. Do you think there will be, kind of regret today that Kejriwal or Aam Aadmi Party might feel, because those people are still standing behind Kejriwal's as has been arrested by the enforcement directorate?
I think the regret primarily will be among people who supported that movement in 2010, 11, 12, who saw in Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party the hope of a new politics. And not just Mr. Kejriwal, Mr. Bhushan, Mr. Yadav, and others represented that hope. So even if it may not lead to any regret within the Aam Aadmi Party, because eventually it became a very close set of leaders, people who had proximity to Mr. Kejriwal, who came to control the Aam Aadmi Party.
Right.
And there was no space for people who disagreed or people who were perceived as outsiders.
Right.
So I'm not sure how much of that introspection will happen within the Aam Aadmi Party, within its ruling group. But yes, for a whole lot of people across the country, they would be feeling very disappointed.
Last night, when he was arrested by the ED, the members of the India Alliance got together. They started protesting. This included the Congress Party, the CPM, the TMC, and people like Sharad Pawar, for example. What does this mean for the alliance?
Uh, Again, I would imagine that it gives the alliance an opportunity to galvanize itself, to come out on the streets, to tell the people or try and tell the people that what the government is doing is unfair. Look at the timing of why it's being done. Uh, but it would require a certain kind of ability to struggle, to probably quote arrests, to organize meetings. But it is an opportunity in work clothes, let's say.
Some supporters of Mr. Modi and the BJP are also skeptical and call this a high risk strategy. Do you think the timing and this arrest, do you think this can backfire on the government?
Saying any of that would also be prejudging why the enforcement agencies pursued this case
Correct.
in the manner that they did. I'm sure they had ample reason, ample evidence, unless we know better, unless the case reaches its logical conclusion. But yes, there is, politically speaking, there is a risk. As I mentioned earlier, Mr. Kejriwal and his brand of politics, despite whatever hiccups it may have suffered, despite the setbacks, despite the disappointment, still enjoys a certain kind of credibility among this country's lower middle classes and the poor.
There are allegations of democracy being in peril, of the opposition also saying that this is a kind of an undeclared emergency. But moving on from this allegation of undeclared emergency and Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, the Congress party also held a press conference yesterday. What the party said, its bank accounts had been frozen by the government right before the election. It called it a malified action on behalf of the government. What do you make of those allegations?
So again, the Congress party also questioned the timing of the freezing, as it called it, of its accounts. The case dates back to 2021. And interestingly, it also showed another notice that predates, that goes back 30 years, 3
To
decades.
1994, to
1994,
Sitaram Kesri's
when
time.
Mr. Sitaram Kesri was the treasurer. So that is a bit odd. A political party, and mind you, political parties do not need to pay tax on their income. But as the BJP, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad pointed out, the Congress has gone to the income tax appellate tribunal. It also moved the Delhi High Court. However, it did not get any relief, and the case will be heard in the Supreme Court next month. So let's see. But yes, the Congress is doubting the timing of it.
Right before the elections,
Right before
that
the
its campaign might get hampered. Old political reporters also recall a slogan that used to be heard in the Congress office back then on Ashoka Road, Akbar Road, sorry. ना खाता ना बही जो
जो
सीताराम केसरी कहे जो चाचा कहे वो सही. Is that right?
Yes, it is right. Traditionally, why only Congress? Traditionally, most political parties, they weren't particularly rigorous in where the money came from. There was no actual due diligence about
Right.
funding, where it comes from, how it goes out. So it can be said about any party, not just it became in a sense more famous because the Congress was the ruling party, and Mr. Sitaram Kesri did not have very many fans within the Congress at that juncture. But a whole lot of our parties, political parties.
Well, talking about party funding, Thursday was an action-packed day, as you very well know. The Election Commission finally released data from the State Bank of India, complete data related to electoral bonds, with the donors, the alphanumeric codes available in it, with parties being mentioned, which party has encashed a particular bond, and people were able to tally the two, and the data is finally out. Every newspaper has reported us. Websites have the data. We also have the data on our website. What do you make of this electoral bond disclosure?
So I would go back to the judgment of Justice Sanjeev Khanna when the Supreme Court scrapped the electoral bond scheme a month back, and he linked electoral bonds uh, to the respective parties, political parties in power, whether at the center or in states. And he connected, the highest grossers of electoral bond is a party that rules at the center and has several governments at the center.
6,060 crores or something like that.
And the second number is the Congress, which has again more governments than any other political party, more state governments. Interestingly, the Biju Janata Dal and the Trinamool Congress were number 3, 4, and there was Bhardwaj Samiti also mentioned. And the data bears that out. If you do not have a state government or did not run a state government in the recent past, the proceeds from electoral bonds are much fewer than the parties that have either ruled at the center or are running state government.
So no major surprises out there.
I don't think there are any major surprises.
Moving on to the actual battleground as we are seeing this, the Congress formed the government in Telangana recently. We have known that the BJP has been trying for the last decade, at least since Mr. Modi came to power, to make inroads into Andhra and Telangana. It tried to win Telangana, it couldn't. The Congress has returned to power. Similarly, in Andhra Pradesh, this time the BJP has gone back to its old ally in the form of TDP. It's likely to be a triangular fight for the Lok Sabha this time, with YSRCP and the Congress, the two poles, and the third pole being the BJP and the TDP alliance. Do you think the BJP stands a good chance in Andhra Pradesh?
Let's look at the 2019 electoral data, and Andhra Pradesh has simultaneous Lok Sabha as well as assembly polls. So in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the YSRCP, thanks to a whole lot of campaigning padyatras that Jagan Mohan Reddy did, uh, notched up for over 49% of vote share, and it swept both the Lok Sabha as well as the assembly. However, interestingly, the TDP more or less maintained its vote share to around 40%. The gap was significant, 8-9%. But if you add the Jana Sena party's vote share in 2019, which was a little above 5%, and now Jana Sena party is in alliance with the TDP as well as the BJP. So, and the BJP performed very poorly, barely a percentage of vote share. But, if one factors in that there might be some anti-incumbency against the Jagan Mohan Reddy-led government, it may become an interesting fight of BJP, Janasena Party and TDP coming together. And then again, Y. Sharmila apparently has been campaigning
For the Congress party.
for the Congress party. So it promises to be a much more interesting election than it was 5 years back.
The Congress party also released its third list of candidates, 56 in total this time. Any surprises in that list?
Surprises in the sense that it makes it evident that probably senior Congress leaders or influential Congress leaders are not particularly committed to contesting elections. For example, the Congress announced 17 of its candidates in Karnataka. Of the 17, while we kind of knew that Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, is not contesting
From Gulbarga,
where he won a few times but lost in 2019, it's his son-in-law who will contest. Similarly, 5 Congress candidates are sons or daughters of sitting ministers in the ruling Congress government in Karnataka, and there are other relatives in the fray. Then you have the example of Pratibha Singh, the sitting Mandi Lok Sabha MP of the Congress, preferring to sit out this election.
Right.
So this feeling is gaining ground that several senior Congress leaders or people who could have been the first choice candidates are trying to kind of excuse themselves from this upcoming election.
Karnataka is fairly interesting even this time around, even for the BJP. We remember in the assembly elections, Mr. Yediyurappa was not the man contesting the elections really. He was not at front and center for the BJP. The BJP did extremely badly. It has brought him back, kind of rehabilitated him. He's leading the pack this time. But the BJP's internal differences in the states still continue to come out. It's not a settled house, is it?
BJP isn't a settled house by any stretch of imagination. And after the setback of the Karnataka Assembly elections, as you pointed out, the BJP had to
reach out to the Lingayat leader,
Mr. Yediyurappa, and make his son the state unit chief. His another son is a Lok Sabha MP and will recontest. So there are divisions, there are problems within the BJP. Some of the leaders who have been denied tickets, for example, Union Minister Sadanand Gowda, he is seemingly very.
He's been making noises.
Yes. So again, while having said that, some of the Congress leaders are not keen to contest in Karnataka, but the elections could still turn out to be interesting. The Congress candidates, uh, the list that was released yesterday, is an interesting read. You have MV Rajiv Gowda, who will contest from Bangalore North, who is the chief of the Planning Commission of Karnataka. There's Soumya Reddy, who's an upcoming young leader, and there are several others. So,
Well, staying on towards south of India, the BJP has also announced candidates for Tamil Nadu. 9 candidates of the BJP will be contesting these elections in Tamil Nadu. How is the BJP placed in Tamil Nadu?
So I would imagine, look, historically the BJP has not performed well. One bright spot was 2014 when it managed to win the Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat. But I would imagine the BJP is hoping to probably win a couple of seats here and there and build towards a future where
It is a fairly energetic state, Chief.
K. Annamalai, who is a former Indian Police Service officer, I think he's very well liked among the younger voters,
At least among the BJP supporters.
among the BJP supporters, and he's an OBC, so he has some appeal within his community as well. But traditionally, we know that BJP does not have a strong base in Tamil Nadu, and it would require displacing one of the two leading Dravidian parties. Can it do it? Does it have the wherewithal, particularly the ideological wherewithal? We have seen in the last couple of years how the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have tried to reach out to people in Tamil Nadu by organizing, Kashi Tamil Sangamam. There have been Sangamams, uh, Tamil Nadu Gujarat Sangamams. And then Mr. Modi has been traveling widely in southern India and in Tamil Nadu. So I would imagine the BJP is trying to invest, build something for the future, and probably get whatever it can, a couple of seats here and there. Coimbatore, where Mr. Annamalai is contesting from, could be one example. Pon Radhakrishnan, the MP who won in 2014, is again contesting from Kanyakumari. Tamil Sai Sundarajan,
who was a governor till recently,
was the governor of Telangana, quit and is contesting from Chennai. So BJP is trying to make the best of what it has and build for the future.
Well, that's a fruitful discussion with you, Archis. Thank you. This was a packed week, like I said. Hoping for more such packed weeks in the future as this election campaign progresses. Thank you. That's all from Business Standard this week. See you on the other side of Chessboard next week.